Hi, everyone. So this is the second intro to drama video. Sorry, the other one was running a little long. This one will be a lot shorter. I just want to, in this one, I just want to talk about the short play, Not Expecting That. That's the first one. I did them kind of in backwards order of the way in which the way in which they're in the document. But the first one you'll find in there is called Not Expecting That. And so let's see what this is. And it's just to let you know, it's based on, if you don't know this, some of you do, but some of you may not, that, hold on, one of the things that can happen when women give birth is they can actually lose control of their bowels and actually poop, right? And so while they're giving birth. And so this is a father who is watching his guy's watching his wife give birth, and that happens. And so if you didn't know that, if you might need to, you would find that maybe as you go through, but it's easier to know that if we start at the beginning. So these people have names. Steve staggers on and collapses in a seat next to Bob. Steve, they don't tell you about the shit. They didn't tell me. Anyone tell you? Bob, no, no one told me. Can't face it either, huh? Her water breaking, sure. Hey, I can handle water. Mucus plug, okay. Disgusting, but okay. I've seen her snot into a hanky a couple of times. She gets the flu, I'm right there, making her soup, picking up the used Kleenex off the floor. You handle, right? That's part of, right, part of it. Bob, yeah. Blood, sweat, and tears. Breathe. Woo, woo, woo. Give her an ice chip. No one told me about the shit. He says push. She pushes. Boom. Like the Hindenburg was filled with sewage. They could warn a guy, give him, a heads up would be nice. You know what the worst part is? Bob, I can't imagine. I'm not in there. This is meant to be like, I'm out here. We're out here, sitting out here. We can't face them. Can't go in there and deal with our own wives. Can you? Can't what? Go in there, deal with her. No, no, I can't. Exactly. What does that make us cowards? Does that make us bad husbands? Beat means just wait a second. Uh, Still, it's all worth it in the end, right? You go through all the shit, but at the end, it's all worth it because you have a new life, right? Bob agonized. No, not always. Steve looks at Bob. Bob looks back at the door, but can't make himself get up. A long moment, and the end. So at first this might have seemed like there's not much conflict, right? Steve comes in, he's telling Bob about how traumatizing this was for him to see his wife poop while she was giving birth, and Bob's kind of not responding. We find out at the end, if we think about what at the end, because notice what he says, because you have a new life, right? And then Bob, agonized, says, no, not always. And we realize that for Bob, it seems like the baby died as it was being born. So Steve comes in thinking this is the worst thing that's ever happened to him, watching his wife poop. And Bob says, there's something way worse, right? And we don't know that. But look at what happens here. So we have Bob just responding, no, no one told me. Yeah, just these little things. And again, it might seem like there's not a conflict, but although this is not actually written in here, to see the way in which Bob actually reacts, if we were to perform this, you could see how the way in which Bob is going to say things, the way in which he might look at Steve or not look at Steve or think about other things that give us a sense that there's something deeper going on with Bob. Even if we don't know exactly what that is until the end, we can see he's not just saying, yeah, yeah, just like, not interested. He is agonized. There's something deeper going on in here. And so, in fact, there is a conflict building. Steve may not recognize what it is, right? He's so consumed with this that he might not recognize what's going on with Bob. But as viewers of the play, if the actors are doing their job, we might see the way in which Bob is reacting, and we might understand, oh, there's some big conflict. Something's coming at the end here because Bob is behaving in a way that, again, is not really engaging with what Steve has to say. And so, again, this still obeys the idea of, we've got to have some conflict and we build up to some kind of understanding release of that conflict at the end, even though we may not have seen it on the page here. And so keep in mind, because remember that first rule I said, the idea about what drama is, it is something that is meant to be performed, not written. And so if somebody gets a script like this, they have to figure out what to do with it. And this is, by the way, this is a real and important good job that a lot of people have is writing these scripts, and then people look at the scripts and they say, all right, I see this. How do I get people to act this, right? When a script gets written for a play or a movie, it might look something like this. All the details are not filled in, but that's for the director and the actors to fill in. The actor says, all right, the director of the play or the director of the movie says, all right, Bob, here's what you're going to be doing here, right? Steve is not going to be aware of what's going on here, but here's how you are going to act that is going to give the audience a sense of what's going on here. So I just want you to keep that in mind. That again, not everything is necessarily written down here, but it is suggested, right? When we get to the end, we can realize, oh, there are some things that Bob was probably doing here that are telling us about what's going on. So keep that in mind as we're moving forward.